All right, I know it's been a couple weeks, a couple busy weeks, but here we go with the final recap video of the year. Um, Obviously, we had our number one seed come out on top, well deserved to Ev. Um, just a dominant year, to say the least. I am very impressed. Um, so yeah, so let's get into we'll do a couple things in this video. Um, so we have Evan in a championship 198, pretty good with two receivers combining for 11. We had Lamar with 29, BTJ with 20, Garendo with 11, McBride at 26, London with 14, but very dominant from a defense and kicker. Special teams did really well. Kirby Joseph with 13. As for Ethan, he still put up 169. Squash with 22, basically 23. Amon Ra with 18. Sutton with 14. Ladd with 26. Obviously, a couple hiccups here in the lineup, but it was still a pretty good week. Some other moves may have been able to make a difference. I don't know. I don't think so, actually. But yeah, Ev on top. So let's talk about the current um, draft rankings or oh my God, draft order for next year. So have it written down. So the 2025 draft order will go Nihil with the first pick, Galigo with the second pick, Nolan with the third, Miranda holding the four, Brett with five, McGill with six, Andrew with seven, Japes with eight, Ethan with nine, Evan with the 10th and final spot. Um, so yeah, so let's take a look at how players finished the season and where they ranked. Obviously, QB rankings. No, that's not right. Here we go. We got Lamar finishing the year with 441 points, followed by Josh with 387, Burrow 386 right behind, Baker 383, Jane Daniels finishing with the number five spot. Um, but yeah, so obviously I am gonna get into my mess later. We got receiver wise, Jamar 352, Amon Ra 279, Jay Jettis 267, London with 242, and Brian Thomas finishing right behind. But we got two rookies in here. So as for running backs, Saquon finished ahead of Jahmyr Gibbs by 1 point. King in third with 330. Bijan 329. Jacobs, Achane, Kyron, James Cook, and Chase Brown. Tight ends, Brock Bowers, 225, Trey McBride, 211, Kittle, 202, Jonnu, 194, Kelsey, 169, Mark Andrews, 166. And then I'm just kind of skim over these. We didn't have a D lineman get over 100. Okay. So we are going to get into a recap, or I guess superlative. So I'm just gonna pull up the rosters in the draft, and we can go over some superlatives. We'll do some fun stuff that I don't think we've talked about. Maybe a little redraft scenario, but that might be another video. But let me pull that up. All right, here we go. So I have 11 things that we're going to go over. Number one is best manager, and I think that is a very easy choice. Um, Evan was by far the best manager this season. Um, Obviously, he did a trade with me that didn't end up going my way. Um, but he also had a great draft. If I can find, had a great draft. A lot of depth, a lot of underrated picks. Um, Probably had two of the best value picks. He had Chuba Hubbard as a 14th pick, 14th round pick, who I believe was probably he got hurt, but when he played I'm gonna just check. Where did Chuba finish on the season? I mean, so he finished with 238 points as a 14th round pick. He was hurt here and there. That's not it. We'll talk about that. Um, Also he had Chase Brown, another great pick, and Brian Thomas Jr., who finished as wide receiver four, I think. Um, so really good. Um, Obviously he had the trade where before, I think honestly, did we do it a day or two before the first game? Was Lamar for Mahomes? I'll be honest, to explain my thought process at that point. Obviously Lamar had come off MVP season. I was a little worried about not a fall off, but I was afraid of him potentially getting hurt, which I know is a stupid reason for me. But I was afraid that they were they were gonna become very reliant on Derek, whereas Kansas City I also had Kelsey, so I was intrigued in the stack. I won't lie. But they had Rashee Rice, they had just drafted Worthy, they had just signed Hollywood Brown, and who else did they have? I feel like I'm missing someone, but obviously they got Hopkins too, but that was way before then. Um, so it just seems like they were kind of revamping their receiving room where they had just won the Super Bowl, and I was like, I mean, it just seemed like their offense was going to, I don't know, mesh, but obviously Rashid getting hurt right away was not really ideal. Um, which leads me to the next award, which is worst manager, which I will completely own. Um, it was some abysmal dealing this year. Um, but so obviously I did trade My number one, well, I should say the number one fantasy player right now, which is Lamar points wise. Um, and I did trade Brock Bowers, who finished tight end one, and who was in that? Who else was in that trade? Darnell Mooney, would become I would say, a valuable piece for the Falcons, for Chris Olave, but also at my spot, I had Ayuk just tear his ACL. Tank Dell was underperforming. I needed a solid receiver. I thought Olave would fill those shoes. I felt like he was going to have volume, but ultimately he ended up getting hurt. Um, so yeah, it was unfortunate. So that also this one killed me too. After me and Evan had done our quarterback trade, he then offered me Nico Collins for Ayuk, and I didn't do it because I already had Tank Dell and I didn't want both of them. So obviously, looking back on that, I hate myself for that. Um, so yeah, um, best trade. So we'll do best draft. Um, I mean, personally, I think me and Evan had the best draft. I think in terms of depth, Evan had a great draft. He had CD, Nico, um, McBride, Monty, Drake London, Chase Brown, Brian Thomas, Chuba. Um, I had drafted the wide receiver one, a running back who was tied with, or I mean, he had 16 touchdowns, but the fantasy player one, the tight end one. I mean, I still think Evan overall had the better draft still. The worst draft, that's interesting. Looking back at it, I honestly am gonna say Nihil. I was gonna say Andrew, only because obviously Pacheco got hurt. Debo just did not perform at all. Um, Evan Ingram got hurt very early. Actually, it might be Andrew, which that doesn't mean anything because you still turned your team around, but um, Pacheco was out. Debo was a bust. We all can agree that. Evan Ingram just didn't really do much this year. Zamir White didn't even play. Christian Watson didn't do anything. Um, and then obviously best trade was Evan for Mahomes, followed up by, I would honestly say Andrew getting Puka, Chase Brown, and was Puka, Chase Brown, and someone else. I'm just gonna pull up the trades. Um, and Jaden Reed for Jettis, just because Jettis didn't really. I mean, he did explode. Then obviously Olave for Bowers, Purdy, and Mooney. Um, See, this was an interesting trade too, but we all know that this had more so a keeper reasoning. I'm not, um, but I would say those were the significant ones. All right, so now we'll get into the actual superlatives. Um, so this one is most likely to give up 5 minutes into the 1 o'clock games. That is a unanimous decision. That would be Ethan. He is already calling his matchup 5 minutes into the games every week, even though he still probably had half his team playing. Then we have comeback manager of the year, which is Evan, because Evan did have a top three pick last year. Evan is comeback manager of the year, followed by Japes, followed by McGill. So basically, you guys just reversed. Um, the silver medal. I think Japes is going to like this one. The silver medal award goes to someone who is just basically participating at this point and has not brought home any hardware. Um, Galileo, you are the Cowboys, but however, just because of the joke of this, Miranda is the silver medal award winner. Um, Galileo, you did come in second. However, it is Mirando. Miranda, Miranda, you know I'm only picking on you, but I think Nihil and Japes are going to get a feast out of that. And then the underachievement award, I was going to go myself. However, Galigo, I'm still going with you because hear me out if I can find your team. Um, you can shit talk me. However, you still finished worse than I did. And I did pick you at the beginning to have the best year because I thought you had the best roster. So I you did this to yourself. I thought you had the best roster, so you did underachieve in my eyes. However, where the hell is your team? You're Captain Kirk. Um, your initial team, even though I did have a really good trade, I thought you had a great receiving core. You had AJ Adams, Mike Evans. You had Josh Jacobs and Aaron Jones. You had Mark Andrews. Stroud was supposed. Okay, I will cut you slack on that. I thought Stroud was going to be a lot better than he was this year. Um, just looking at your roster, I thought you had the best all-around team heading in. So yeah, I'm just checking something. Okay. The next one is the Best Shit Talker Award, which goes to Nihil. Um, he may not have done a lot this year, but he did talk the most shit, followed by Japes. Japes was definitely up there too. So congrats to Nihil. I expect Nihil to hang on to that award for a long time. Um, but yeah, so I want to just check out some draft stuff. Like, well, what would we have changed? Obviously, there's a lot that probably would have been changed. But we'll just go over a couple brief things. This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go just because I think in a separate episode I'm gonna do a redraft soon, and I'm gonna go through each round and do best and worst pick. I will include keepers included, um, maybe a couple honorable runner-ups. First round is Jamar though, easy Triple Crown winner. Worst pick, CMC, unfortunately, even though he more so because of his injury, but yeah, he was the worst pick in the first round. Second round, best pick, no questions, Saquon. If I did have to pick another, it'd probably be Nico slash Squash. I'm only a little down on Allen just because of where he was taken. But worst pick, there are actually a lot of bad picks in this round. Um, Pacheco might be only because he didn't play a lot. And then I would go ETN because he was just a bust. And then Olave. Third round, best pick would be Jahmyr Gibbs. Um, this also wasn't a great round. The worst pick in this round might be Debo. He just didn't do anything this year. Actually, no, I take that back. Pittman, awful. Actually awful. Um, Runner up would be Mike Evans, I think, still. Um, Fourth round best pick. Ooh, this is a good round. Josh Jacobs, probably best pick. Uh, it's actually gonna depend because obviously Kamara exploded. Whoever had more points, I think. However, I would lean Jacobs only because of how he finished the season. He was just a absolute scoring fucking machine. Yeah, he was a fucking machine at the end. Yeah, Josh Jacobs. So if you had him in the playoffs, yeah, that was tough to beat. Um, Obviously a very good round in this one. Um, you had Jacobs, Kamara, James Cook, Kenneth Walker, Joe Mixon, Hurts. Um, I think Hurts was a freaking great pick too. Unfortunately, the worst pick in this round is probably Diggs just because he got hurt. Brees Hall floating in there too, just because people had him as like RB1 going into the year, and yeah. All right, round five. The best pick. Ooh, this one's tough too. Oh, Lamar. No, Lamar, easy. Not even a question. What am I saying? Lamar, easy. Absolute bozo by me. But another great round. You had Monty, who had 12 touchdowns. James Conner had a great year. Malik Neighbors finished over 100 catches. And did Terry finish over? No, he might have finished. I don't know, but he was top seven receiver, top 10. Obviously, he had his best career year. Worst pick, Anthony Richardson. No brainer. He just was not good this year. Mari Cooper's a close one, too. Very little production. Um, Going into round six. The best pick was Drake London. Great pick, great keeper by Evan. I may have hinted for you to keep him because I knew you were gonna lean towards keeping James Cook. However, London did work out very well. Rashee Rice, even though he got hurt right there too, we saw what he can do. Um, I think Kittle had a great year too, and Aaron Jones. So this one wasn't that bad. However, the worst pick of this round, we do have some bad picks. Dalton Kincaid just did not produce. Ayuk, even before he got hurt, was awful. Evan Ingram just didn't have enough, but I actually think it's between Kincaid and Ayuk. Um, Probably Ayuk because he just wasn't playing well. Um, we head into the seventh where we thought Tank Dell was going to be a steal. He wasn't. However, the best pick in this round turned out to potentially be Najee. Was it Najee? Because what did Rashad finish at? Let's see. What did we have Rashad White finish at? Bucky Irvin. Oh no, I was gonna say there's no way. Yeah, Najee was ended up being the best pick. Damn, good, good pick, McGill. The worst pick. A lot of bad picks in this round too. Zamir White, easy. Obviously, Mostert wasn't really a good pick either, but he's more so insurance at that point. Um, this round, okay, this round is, oh, this round's very complicated. Okay, a lot of good picks in this round. Chris Godwin was wide receiver one until he got hurt. Tony Pollard did a great job. I think he exceeded expectations. And then you had Jordan Addison, who absolutely exploded in the second half of the year. Um, like I'm leaning Godwin. Like Jaden Reed was good too. Godwin was by far running away with wide receiver one until he got hurt. So I would go Godwin. I know that's crazy. Addison, Pollard, Jaden Reed was very good too. I think the worst pick was Christian Watson. He did not produce. Deontay at least had very good weeks in Carolina, and then once he got traded, he was not even rosterable at that point. Round nine, best pick Chase Brown, right? Yeah, Chase Brown, best pick. Uh, B Rob close behind. I would say worst pick, honestly, Jonathan Brooks. He didn't get any playing time. Chuba ran away with the backfield. Also, he got hurt again. Um, so yeah, round 10. I don't even think I have. Oh, very good. Okay, very good round actually. Best pick is Brian Thomas by far. I shouldn't say by far, but he was wide receiver four, I think. Um, then Lad and Jason, how did they finish together? Let's see. I'm actually curious to see who. Yeah, Brian Thomas finished. Okay, wide receiver five. So Evan still had both. Um, so JSN did finish okay with more than Lad. So I would say those two would be the runner-ups. And then the worst pick is kind of hard to pick out. Cortland Sutton's a sleeper pick too. We'll just go with steals at this point. Obviously, I know I forgot to talk about Andrew's trade where he got B, Rob, and Shakir for Debo. Didn't forget about it. Um, I think Shakir was probably the best pick in this round. Shaheed could have been potentially if he didn't get hurt. Round 12, Jane Daniels, top five. Um, and points, great pick there. Burrow's probably the best pick there. Just because he finished number three, so it would go Burrow and then Jaden Daniels. Rico Dowdle, where he finished, was a good pick. Um, and then round 13, obviously Bowers, tight end one. Such a shame by me. Round 14, Chuba, great pick there. No questions asked. Round 15, Jerry Judy. I'd go Jerry Judy. I think Judy Goff and Myers, great value there. Judy did have a great stretch of games with Winston, where I think that value proved worthy. Obviously, round 16, we have Garrett Wilson. At the end of the year, Adam Thielen did come along. Kirby Joseph might be Kirby here. Round 18, I would say probably Brandon Aubrey did finish as the kicker one. Any sleepers these last couple rounds? Obviously, we have Achan and Kyron. Zach Charbonnet as well, being a last round pick. Obviously, Achan and Kyron run away with that. So I think honestly that's gonna be it. Expect a redraft video, but great season. I believe this was year seven. Well, we have Ethan one, Ethan, Dave, me, Japes, Andrew, Japes, Nihil, Evan. So 7 years. So obviously year seven in the books. We will move on to year eight. Crazy. Um, but yeah, it was a good year. If you haven't paid Evan, do it, or else I will do something about it. Nihil's punishment, I believe, is a beer mile. He picked it. You guys agreed on it. You guys can plan that. So yeah. But good year. Look forward to next year. Obviously, more videos will come out in the off season. So yeah, stick around for that.